This is Sports Federation TV. If you've just tuned in, you've missed the first segment on rock climbing. You're welcome to catch it on YouTube within the next week. This is the show where we talk about a range of different codes of sport. We now move our attention to sailing. We're joined in studio by Bev Lisser, the newly elected chairperson, a little bit older than newly, but for all intents and purposes, the new chairperson of the Western Cape Sailing. Mr. Tobin, Marco, committee member, are you well, sir?
I'm well.
Good.
Thank you.
Bev, sailing, take us through some of the highlights or the different disciplines within sailing. Let's start there before we get the highlights.
Different disciplines. We have dinghy, we have keelboat, we have multi-hulls, we have windsurfers, we have kiteboarders. They've actually just had a fantastic broke a world record in January. Everybody's really active. Everybody's participating. No more do we hear the word sailing is a dying sport. It's not acceptable. Plenty volunteers. Everybody gets involved, and family sport. Our youngest sailor is 8. Our oldest is 80 plus, Marco.
Yeah.
So definitely a family sport. If you're not sailing on the water, then you're on safety, or you're on bridge, or you're on shore control. So.
And I think that's the key, Marco, is that often people think, if I'm not participating in sport, I don't need to get involved. But often you find that people, family members, mothers, brothers, cousins, they come alongside those who are participating and offer assistance. Is that the case, as Bev highlighted, in all the different disciplines within sailing?
Definitely. To run a regatta is not just about setting the course. And people need to do rescue. You need to basically set out the plan, signing the food, and so it's quite a holistic picture of looking at it. So the support structure is needed to run an event or to run a program. It's quite significant.
Marco, you're involved in an academy. Tell us a bit about this academy. Where's it based? How does it run?
Okay. One of the Zikufle Sailing Centre is one of the academies within the Western Cape. It runs out of Zikufle Yacht Club.
Which is where? Where's Zikufle? Some of us don't know where Zikufle is.
It's basically in Grassy Park, close to Muizenberg side, so the South Peninsula in the Cape. Other centres run Monday to Friday. Different schools from within the community comes to learn how to sail for free, basically.
Wow.
So it's a community outreach project. It's run by, the way we set it up, it's run by the graduates of the program.
Okay.
I graduated from that program through Grassy Park High School about 16 years ago. So it's gone through a process where I'm the director, the chairperson is a graduate, we have a treasurer, and we employ two coaches, which as a gap year for them, to coach the kids Monday to Friday. Over the weekend we introduce a high performance training, and where the kids who are interested in sailing and take it to the next level, they get exposed to racing more competitively, and we will take them along to different dinghy or keelboat events where they can get broad exposure to the sport and actually get hooked into the sport.
Wow. So who funds this thing if it's a free for the kids? Bev?
Well, from each sailing school basically would do its own funding.
Okay.
We're fortunate enough to have sponsorship from the Lotto and a few other funders as well. But it's and with the support of DCAS as well as the support of SAS, we are able to give access to the kids to the different programs we want to take part in.
And have you had any successes come out of the school?
Quite a few. In the beginning stages, Ashton Sampson he took part in Team Shozaloza. So he was part of the America's Cup team.
Okay.
He's part of the British America's Cup team as well, the Ben Ainsley Racing. So
yes.
he's the head of the technical team.
Nice.
So there's a number of those examples. I think one of the aspects that we want to teach our kids is the career paths that you can also take in sailing. I'm probably the one that hasn't taken a job up in the sailing community.
You're the director of an academy, of course you're involved.
Well, in terms of becoming a boat builder,
Okay.
there's those type of exposures, becoming a sailmaker, so it's giving the kids those exposures, and that is not just about racing, it's broader than that, it's a community, it's an industry.
Yeah. Bev, from SAS point of view, I mean, that's just one example where the kids have come through the system and done phenomenally well. Are there other academies in the Western Cape?
Yes, there are. We have Hot Bay Sailing School as well, and then Isivunguvungu that have been going for quite some time. And I must say the level of training really shows when these children come or youth sail at our various regattas, and they take podium finishes. We've just seen it now at our Western Cape Championships that we sailed in Saldanha. These guys on mirrors, which is generally a two-man boat, and they sail incredibly well, and it's just great. I mean, to see them coming up through the ranks and achieving those results, it's really fantastic.
And I know that our level is not of the lowest. If you take last year with the Chinese exchange, where those sailors came, they were given a hard time, and they sail quite proficiently.
Yeah, no, for sure. You mentioning the Chandao experience,
Yes.
where we sent the keelboaters. They sailed a Cape Town designed boat. First time, they had no training on that specific boat in Cape Town. Royal Cape Yacht Club offered the closest we could get to that specific boat, and they trained really hard, really did us proud. They worked well as a team, and took third place, and that was great for us, and we hope to be able to send them back again.
And that's an ongoing exchange that happens between yourselves and Chandao.
Correct. It's generally the agreement that we have is for the Opti class, and we've just hosted them now at Saldanha, and again these 5 youth Opti sailors were absolutely fantastic. Almost all of them podium finishers, and they took their sailing very seriously. And you know, even though nobody else on shore could speak Chinese, there were these little kiddies, and when they got to shore first, and the other Opti sailors from the local Opti sailors were arriving, grabbed the dollies, went, assisted them, and there's just this common thread amongst sailors and the sailing family, and everybody just gets involved and helps, and you know, it's one unit, and it's fantastic.
But that's the power of sport. It unites people across whatever boundary and barrier you have. I mean, take Zikuflei. Who would have thought that there'd be SA champions, world champions, people sailing on international boats, as you mentioned, as a result of one little exchange in sport? Do you find that happens across all the other disciplines within sailing?
Definitely. I think sailing itself teaches you a lot of disciplines, leadership skills, team building. You need to respect the elements. So all those aspects really builds a strong network within the community. The sailing community is growing at the moment. So I think it's a snowball effect where young kids are being exposed to these aspects and are learning from the seniors, and basically it's a contagious cycle. Yeah.
If you've just tuned in, we're chatting sailing. We're chatting to Bev Lesser, the chairperson of Western Cape Sailing. We're chatting to Marco Tobin, who's involved in the Zikuflei Academy, but also a committee member. Bev, how difficult is it to get involved in sailing? Because often you hear that it's out there, it's way out in the distance, I can't attain it. Is it difficult?
No, I don't think it's difficult at all. You can, of the 6 districts, we have sailing in 5 of the districts. You could log on to our website, South African Sailing. You could go onto our Facebook page and find the nearest yacht club to the area in which you live, which would just also minimize your traveling. There's also a lot of sailing through schools. We're trying to boost those programs as well. And please find us, and we'll get you onto a boat, we'll get you started, and I mean, as you've heard from Marco, there are so many avenues, and please join us.
How difficult is it, or how expensive is it, Marco, to be involved in sailing? Do you need to come with your own boat to Zikuflei, or can you just pitch up there and jump on a dinghy?
Well, if you join our program, the kids have access to the boats that's owned by the program. Luckily, we're sponsored by the Lotto to purchase them. But as a family member, you can hire the boat from the yacht club for the day or for the season. There's learn to sail programs for not only for the kids but for adults as well. So it's a sport. It's a lifetime sport, you know. So you can actually join the sport at any stage, and you can compete at a level that you feel comfortable in. If you're going out just for a sail and enjoying the elements, or you can be competitive in actually racing in it. It's applicable to all ages, to all levels, so it's quite welcoming to everyone.
Marco, you're talking about competition. Pep, how often are there regattas in the different classes, or is it just once a year that these regattas happen?
No, our sailing calendar is incredibly full. Each registered club has its own sailing calendar, and it generally runs until the end of May, when we have our closing cruises and our AGMs and things like that. And the new committee of the yacht club is then nominated for the following year. And then generally we have about a 2-month break in winter, although at certain of the clubs that's your best and most consistent wins. Keelboaters, I think, go right through the year. There's no real stop. But yeah, we sit once a year at SAS Western Cape with all the role players and try and decide on the calendar for the year ahead, which is then distributed to all of our sailors so that you can plan. Obviously, we like to have club sailing because clubs need to be healthy and exist.
For sure.
And then also we do a lot of traveling. Yeah. A lot of traveling to other clubs. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to make that trip, but I must say, with the Western Cape champs that we've just had in Saldanha, we've had sailors and families traveling from KZN, Pretoria, Eden District, making that trip just to come and sail in the Western Cape. So transporting of the boats is actually a bit of an issue and limiting.
But do you find that sailing happens on dams or sea, or is it a combination depending on the club, or is it depending on the regatta, or how does it work, Marco?
It really depends on where the club is. If there's water and water's deep enough, we'll put a boat on there and we'll sail it. So you kind of develop different skills based on the water you're sailing on. Somebody sailing out to Simonstown will be more familiar with sailing in bigger seas and bigger swells, where somebody from the lake will be a lot quicker in lighter conditions, you know, somebody from the Vaal Dam. So normally in the lighter condition races, all the guys from the Vaal or the Joburg sailors would be a lot quicker than the Cape Townians, because we're used to blowing the southeaster.
Yes.
You know, and vice versa. If the wind is up, then the Cape Townians do a lot better. So you kind of grow your skill based on the environment you're sailing in, and you own on those areas where you aren't too good at, trying to improve that.
And is there cross-pollination between the two, though, Bev?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Sometimes it's, you know, depending on the sailing calendar, there's a dinghy regatta that you really want to go and do, but at the same time there's a keelboat regatta, and so there's a lot of cross-pollination, and it's just the way it is in the sport. And although it could be limiting to a club regatta, the benefit of that is that these sailors are equipping themselves with so many different, you know, skills, and it is about life skills. If you are stuck out there, there's, you know, if you're playing rugby, as our national president mentioned in one of the recent interviews, if you're injured on the field, you get carried off and there you go. But
Yes.
if you're on a boat out there and you're stuck out there, you have to get yourself back and
Yes.
your boat and your crew to safety, to shore. And the life skills that we learn within our sport, I think, are yeah, money can't buy that.
And it carries you in all avenues of life.
Everywhere.
You mentioned something quite interesting, that you often have a conflict of discipline. So you don't only race one boat, you race 2 or 3 different classes? Am I understanding you correctly?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I would have thought you'd specialize in keelboat or whatever. Do you get, is that not the norm?
No, there's also a little bit of peer pressure. I mean, if I
Okay.
just think about, I'm Commodore at Four Fly Yacht Club, so it's predominantly a dinghy club, but we're also the home of the Mosquitoes, which is multi-hull.
Okay.
And so there'll always be this rivalry with the cat sailors saying to us as dinghy sailors, well, you're just a half-boat sailor, you know, speak to us when you grow up.
Yes.
And as soon as they get onto, for example, this sonnet, that Stephen Dutoy has perfected, this glass sonnet, you know, the attitude towards this dinghy changes. And then likewise, so we've also cross-pollinated and
Yes.
hopped onto a Mosquito. It's very different sailing, and again, you know, we have these opportunities, and it's out there, it's open to absolutely everybody.
And it improves your skill as a sailor more
As
than anything else.
As a human being.
Yes.
Yeah.
Marco, in closing, how do people find out more about your project at Zikkerfly?
We have a Facebook page. It's Zikufle Sailing Center, and a lot of the information on there is there's contact details on there. You can see images. My contact details we'll put on there as well. So
Okay.
I think it's best to send a message through Facebook to get in contact.
Bev, you alluded to your Facebook page earlier. Tell us a bit about it. What's the Facebook page called for SAS?
South African Sailing. And if you go onto either our website or the Southern Charter Grand Slam website or Facebook page, you will see all the details of the recently sailed Western Cape Champs, which was sponsored by Southern Charter, hosted by Fall Flay Yacht Club, and assisted by Saldanha Bay Yacht Club. It's quite a big event.
Yes.
And our partners for this particular one, because we had the Chindow delegation, was the Saldanha Bay Municipality, DCAS head office, and DCAS Vredenburg. And I think everybody had a fantastic time. Sailors had 4 perfect days of sailing, which is
Unheard of.
and they had absolutely everything that you could
Yes.
throw at them. Day 2 was really hectic. They came off broken bodies, tired, and broken hands. And the next day it was right back out there, and they wanted more. It was absolutely, we couldn't have asked for better.
That's the perks of sailing. That's the perks of sport.
Definitely.
Thank you guys. Marco, Bev, for your time.
Thank you.
All the best for sailing.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Let's take an ad break, and when we come back, we'll chat deep sea angling. See you now.